Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are cracking open a concept that, well, the teachings themselves say is the indispensable starting point for any really profound spiritual journey. We're talking about Sammā-Diṭṭhi, or right view.
That's right. It's fundamental.
Our sources tell us that if you're seeking clarity, wisdom, maybe even enlightenment, this is it. This is the absolute first step, kind of the direction setter. But here's the core question we're tackling today, and it feels a bit like a tightrope walk. If Sammā-Diṭṭhi is actually defined as wisdom, do we first need Saddhā? I mean, do we need faith or belief to even begin to cultivate it?
That's the crux of it.
And crucially, if belief is required, how do we stop that essential confidence from, collapsing into Nagam and Gai, that really sticky, dangerous zone of fanaticism or just blind acceptance?
Exactly. That's the tension.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to unpack this very structured relationship, the one between belief and wisdom, just as it's laid out in the teachings. We need to define not just what right view is, but also how you actually build it. We want to give you, the learner, a clear map.
Right.
So you can start your journey confidently. Starting with confidence, yes, but ending with self-verified knowledge. We really need to nail down precisely where confidence tips over into, well, credulity.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting at the beginning seems right. When we look at the path itself, the Noble Eightfold Path, Sammā-Diṭṭhi, is listed first, number one. It's often called the president, or maybe the leading factor, because it's the fundamental wisdom, the panna, that steers the whole trajectory.
That's it. If the view is wrong, then the practice is just misdirected. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is that right view isn't just one single uniform state of mind. It's actually practiced at two distinct levels, sequentially.
Oh, two levels.
Yes. And understanding this duality is absolutely key to understanding where faith fits in, or if it fits in.
All right, so what are they?
Okay, the first is the lokiya level. That's the mundane or worldly right view. Think of it as the foundational moral and existential framework you need just to function skillfully in the world.
Like a baseline.
Exactly, a baseline. It involves having the correct view about the law of karma. The idea that intentional good deeds yield good results and bad deeds, well, they yield bad results.
Okay, so a basic framework of moral cause and effect. Seems reasonable.
Yes. And significantly, this level also requires the initial belief that this world and the next truly exist.
Hold on.
This provides the supportive basis for moral action. It ensures you don't just chase short-term satisfaction that leads to long-term harm.
Okay, wait. I need to step in for the audience here. Why is belief in this world and the next required for this mundane level? Isn't the law of karma enough on its own? Because, for a modern learner, that might sound like quite a big hurdle, a required belief right out of the gate.
That's a really critical question. And the sources, they really do insist on this specific point.
What?
Well, because the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, it's often quite subtle. Its workings aren't always immediately obvious.
Okay.
So if you only believe in the immediate visible world, it's actually very easy to see maybe an unskillful action produce a temporary benefit, right?
Sure, happens all the time.
And then you might conclude, well, karma doesn't really work, and then maybe abandon moral behavior altogether.
Ah, I see. So the belief buffers against misleading short-term results.
Precisely. The necessity of believing in the next, whether you think of it as continuity of consciousness or just the long-term, non-immediate consequences, that's what sustains the effort. The effort to act morally even when the results aren't immediately apparent.
Right.
It stabilizes your commitment to, let's say, the long game of ethical development. That's the mundane foundation.
Got it. So that confidence, that belief, provides the scaffolding for morality.
Okay.
And the second level?
That's the lokuttara, the
Yeah.
supramundane or highest right view. Now, this is pure wisdom.
Okay.
Panna, this isn't about belief in karma anymore. This is the total, unshakable discernment of the arising and cessation of suffering. It's the full realization of the Four Noble Truths.
Wow. So pure realization is the ultimate goal. Then the question of faith, of Saddhā, it definitely seems to apply mostly to establishing that initial supportive, mundane right view.
That's where it's most relevant, yes.
So the question that becomes, if that foundational belief is the starting gun, what's the mechanism? What takes that raw confidence and actually turns it into verified wisdom?
Okay, this is where we shift from, let's say, theory to engineering. The practical steps.
Right.
The teachings specify two prerequisite factors. These must combine to move you toward establishing Sammā-Diṭṭhi.
Two factors. What are they?
The first is Parado Gosa. literally the sound from others. Basically, hearing the instruction of good teachers, wise friends, it's the external input.
Someone giving you the map.
Exactly, the map being handed to you. And the second prerequisite is yoniso manasikara, which is skillful attention or wise consideration. That's the internal process, deliberation.
External input, internal processing.
Correct. Now here is where our key concept, saddha faith or confidence, acts as the essential first mover. The catalyst.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you lack the confidence to even open your ears and listen to the instruction, the parado-gosa, maybe you're immediately skeptical of the teacher, or the teaching just seems too weird or too difficult.
Shut the door.
You shut down the entire process right there. Nothing happens.
So faith is the spark. It's the willingness to just open the door, receive the map, even before you've personally verified the territory yourself.
Precisely. You could call saddha the fuel energy, pengen shu flong, as it's sometimes termed.
Fuel energy, I like that.
It motivates the learner to actually apply that crucial second factor, yoniso manasikara, wise consideration. Without that initial energy, that spark, the mind just never engages in the necessary internal work.
Okay, so the belief is the fuel. But the engine that transforms it is the skillful attention, the yoniso manasikara. Let's really dig into that. How does that specific type of wise consideration work in practice, like day to day?
Right. Well, it's the process of self-inquiry. It's about checking the instruction you received, paragosa, against logic, against your own experience, against observation.
Okay, give us an example.
Sure. Let's say you hear a teaching about the benefits of patience. That's the parado-gosa. Your saddha, your confidence in the source, gives you the trust to actually listen, to consider it.
Right.
Then your yoniso manasikara kicks in. You start asking yourself questions like, okay, when I have been impatient in the past, what was the result? What happened? And when I actually tried being patient, even just a little, did I feel calmer? Did things go better?
You're looking for evidence in your own life.
Exactly. Does this teaching make logical sense when I apply it to my daily interactions? You are actively seeking proof, looking for the cause and effect. And when that skillful consideration leads to reasoned acceptance, when you observe the cause and effect confirming the instruction in your own experience, that initial raw belief starts to elevate. It transforms.
I mean, what to what?
It transforms from mere saddha, just faith, into actual Sammā-Diṭṭhi, right view. It's no longer just confidence in the teacher or the text.
It's your own knowledge.
It's knowledge verified within your own experience. That's the critical shift.
Is that a really powerful transformation? It sounds like you're trading reliance on an external authority for internal verification, like graduating from belief to knowing.
That's absolutely the goal. Wisdom, panna, leads the path, ultimately. But faith, saddha, provides that initial, absolutely necessary momentum, that fuel energy to get the verification process started.
Okay. Now we come back to that tightrope walk we mentioned at the start. You've established that faith is necessary fuel. But, like you said, if we pour too much fuel in, we risk an explosion of, well, blind belief. Youngum guy. So how do we ensure that necessary confidence is just right? That it doesn't turn into blind faith on one side or paralyzing skepticism on the other?
This brings us neatly to the principle of balancing the 5 faculties. The Indriya 5.
The 5 faculties.
Yes, and for this discussion, we're specifically focused on the relationship between 2 of them. Saddha, faith, confidence, and panna, wisdom, intellect.
Faith and wisdom.
Exactly. These 2 faculties are designed, you could say, to counterbalance each other, like the accelerator and the brake in a car, if they're unbalanced.
The journey stalls or crashes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, let's look at the crash scenarios then. What happens when the accelerator is jammed down? When faith is way too high and wisdom is lacking?
Right. If saddha is too high and wisdom panna is deficient, this leads directly to fanaticism, to nungam gai.
And what does that look like psychologically?
The outcome is rigidity, mental rigidity. This is the person who maybe spends 3 hours performing a complex ritual their teacher told them had special powers. But they completely ignore basic moral precepts, like speaking truthfully or kindly, things that would actually benefit their real daily life and relationships.
So they become attached to the form, the ritual, without understanding the function or the underlying principle.
Exactly that. They believe simply because they were told to believe. And crucially, they stop asking why. They stop inquiring.
And that blocks wisdom.
Completely. This state makes a learner not ready for proof, as the texts sometimes say. Inquiry is shut down. If you already know you're right simply because you believe you're right, well, you block the growth of any true experiential wisdom.
Okay, that's one ditch. What about the other side of the road? the opposite extreme.
Yeah.
The hyper-intellectual, maybe the modern learner who's brilliant but just perpetually cynical.
Right. The other imbalance, if saddha is too low, if confidence is lacking, but intellect, panna, is, let's say, running too high on its own,
What happens then?
you become the eternal skeptic. This can manifest as stubborn conceit, sometimes called dithimana. It's a kind of pride in one's intellectual capacity, but it leads to being paralyzed by doubt.
Paralyzed by doubt.
Yes! You become brilliant at dissecting the theory. You can critique the map better than anyone, point out all its potential flaws, but you refuse to take a single step on the actual road because you lack that initial confidence, that saddha, that the journey is even worthwhile, or that the map might actually lead somewhere good.
So you just dwell on doubt and fault-finding.
Exactly. You're so clever, you doubt the potential for the practice to yield any real results for you, and therefore you never actually apply the wisdom you might already possess from your studies. You never test it.
Wow. That's a fantastic distinction. Spending all your energy arguing about the map instead of actually walking the road.
It's a common trap, especially for sharp minds.
So the perfect state, then, is this dynamic equilibrium, where belief, saddha, is equal to wisdom, panna, a confidence that's constantly checked by reason, that's ready for practice, and always open to self-verification through your own experience.
That's the ideal balance, yes.
But practically speaking,
Yeah.
how do we self-adjust? I mean, if we wake up one morning and realize, oops, I'm being overly fanatical about this routine, or maybe the opposite, I'm just being lazily skeptical about putting in any effort.
Mm-hmm.
What's the tool? How do we recalibrate ourselves?
The tool is sati, mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Okay. Mindfulness acts as the lawkeeper, you could say, or maybe the scale operator. It's what allows you to monitor your own internal energy levels, your own state.
How?
You observe yourself, you check in. Wait a minute, is my confidence running a bit wild here? Am I believing this without really checking? Or is my intellect holding me back? Am I just finding excuses not to try? Sati notices the imbalance.
So mindfulness gives you the data about your internal state.
Precisely. So the practical strategy is then targeted self-adjustment based on that data.
Makes sense. What does that look like?
Well, if you observe yourself leaning towards blind belief, maybe you're following a rule that's causing you or others unnecessary distress, and you honestly can't articulate why you're doing it,
Right.
then you must consciously, deliberately increase palona, wisdom.
How?
You do this by intentionally considering the reasons behind the practice, ask yourself the tough questions, engage in small, verifiable experiments to generate your own empirical proof, test it out.
Test the hypothesis, like a scientist of your own mind.
Absolutely. And conversely, if you find yourself tending toward that paralyzing doubt or intellectual stubbornness or maybe just plain laziness, that feeling of, oh, I'll practice tomorrow, I just need to read one more academic paper first.
Procrastination fueled by skepticism.
Exactly. Then you need to consciously boost your saddha, your confidence, your faith.
And how do you boost faith?
You can do this by intentionally contemplating the merits of the teachings themselves, remembering why they resonated with you, or recalling the proven reliability of the sources or teachers you trust, reflecting on positive experiences you have had.
So you consciously generate that initial fuel energy again.
Yes. By reminding yourself why you started this journey in the first place, you nudge the accelerator gently.
So the balance is dynamic. It's not a static state you achieve once. Sati, mindfulness, is constantly keeping the scales honest.
Constantly adjusting, yes.
This has been incredibly clarifying, really helpful. To try and bring it all together for our listener then. While Sammā-Diṭṭhi, the right view, is the established wisdom that guides you toward freedom from suffering, Saddha, faith or belief, acts as that absolutely essential first burst of energy. The fuel needed to even begin the journey, especially at that foundational mundane level.
That sums it up well. And the desired outcome, just to be clear, it's not blind acceptance. It's what the texts sometimes call vicharanayana saddha.
What does that mean?
It means faith that is built upon careful deliberation and sound judgment. It's confidence that is stable, precisely because it has been tested and verified by your own intellect, your own pinnacle.
Faith grounded in reason and experience.
Exactly.
Okay. So if faith is the spark that opens the door and provides that initial fuel for the engine of consideration, maybe here's something for you, the listener, to consider as you move forward with your own learning and practice. What does that internal experience actually feel like when the engine switches? When it moves from relying mostly on the initial fuel of hopeful belief, that external trust, to running primarily on the established self-verified wisdom of right view.
That's a great inquiry.
Yeah, maybe next time you engage in some practice or reflect on a teaching, just pay attention. Where is the energy coming from? Is it more from a hopeful wish and aspiration based on trusting someone or something else? Or is it coming more from that calm, verified knowledge inside you that says, yes, this effort actually works, I've seen it?
Observing that shift.
That shift is the deep dive happening right inside you.